My name is Mike Edding, and I'm joined tonight by Susan McBride, and we will be guiding you through the types of devices and apps that are available to help improve your physical and mental well-being. Next slide, please. So you might ask, why are we even looking at wellness? Well, first, let's talk about what wellness is. It can be described as a holistic state of physical and mental health, and it especially applies when we're actively seeking improvement in those areas. So if we can improve those aspects of our health, we will be better able to handle whatever challenges come our way. These could range from COVID-related illnesses or anxiety about that, to stress from unexpected economic changes in our family. We all have a lot going on in our lives, and wellness technology can help us both prepare and cope better. Next slide. The first area we'll touch on today relates to our physical health, or body wellness in another way of speaking.
Thank you so much. And let me turn to Jerry, who may have some closing remarks.
There's nothing new about the idea of keeping our bodies healthy, but technology is giving us new tools every day which can help with our efforts. Susan's going to begin our discussion of body wellness by talking about wearables.
So wearable devices and smartwatches are quickly becoming indispensable technologies in the healthcare industry. And there are many reasons why you might consider adding a wearable to your health and fitness routine. And by wearable, I'm referring to watches or other devices that track your fitness, monitor your heart rate and other biometrics, or provide wellness-related benefit. There are many health-related benefits to using a smartwatch or a fitness tracker. The most obvious is that they encourage physical activity. But do they really? A recent survey showed that 57% of smartwatch owners started exercising more after purchasing a wearable device like the Apple Watch or a Fitbit. So in short, yes. And with a wealth of apps that are available to anyone, you can quickly jumpstart your fitness routine at a level that's designed just for you, at just the right level for you. And if you need some encouragement, these wearable devices will help encourage movement by sending out gentle reminders of when you've been sedentary for too long. And this will also help to support an active lifestyle. So just how can you benefit from using a wearable? Well, as I mentioned, first, they can track your movement. So many smartwatches or devices have these built-in activity trackers that will log everything from your steps per day to your heart rate to calories burned and specific workouts that you've done. Activity tracking apps are also great because they encourage us to meet daily fitness goals. So you might set a goal of 10,000 steps and you'll get a bing on your device when you've reached that goal. They can push our regular physical activity by displaying trends or set new objectives as we progress in our fitness path. Some also will allow you to share your progress with others to help encourage you to continue to, maintain meeting your daily goals. You can also pair them with interval or quickie workout apps. And these apps will provide you with a short interval workout. It's easy to follow tutorials, and they will monitor your progress that you can read right from your wrist. Even if you have only 10 minutes a day, using them encourages us to increase our overall physical activity. And then with some wearables, and the Apple Watch is a great example of this, you can do workouts on demand using your watch. You can pick the type of fitness routine that works with your schedule, the skill level, and then you compare it with your smartwatch and your phone or your computer or like the Apple TV to get real-time readings of your overall accomplishments as you're doing your exercise. It will show your heart rate, it will show your level of exertion. So that kind of is another benefit to the wearables. Another benefit of wearing a fitness device is that it will monitor health-related metrics without you even telling it to. So whether it be an Apple Watch or Fitbit, even the Oura Ring, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, they're very helpful in monitoring multiple health measures, such as your heart rate, your sleep habits, and your physical activity. These can be helpful in the moment as you are exercising so that you know, for example, your exertion level. Or if you feel tired, you know it's because you got poor sleep the night before. Another thing that they can do is they can monitor your health metrics and then track it over time. And that they do this automatically as well. So having a history of your resting heart rate, sleep, and other metrics can really revolutionize your relationship with your doctor, because it can provide real insight into some of the things that might be going on behind the scenes. So rather than just saying, I don't feel well, or I haven't been sleeping well, you're able to pull up your graph, your chart, and show your doctor exactly what you mean. A true story that illustrates how helpful this can be. My daughter was able to show her doctor the data that she collected on her Fitbit related to her resting heart rate over a several-month period to make clear a significant departure from her normal levels. Oops, sorry. Let me get back here. Anyway, so something that was presenting as a mental health issue turned out to be a physical health issue. And her doctor was able to see that using her Apple or her Fitbit graph and order tests that needed to be done to identify an illness. So it's been very, very helpful in that regard. Another thing that these wearables can do is to remind you to take medication. So for patients who live with chronic conditions that require, just a moment, I'm going to enable transcription, that enable frequent medications, or anyone that's currently taking one, it's essential to follow the prescription guidelines as directed by your doctor. So while patients do their best to adhere to medication schedules, it's easy to miss a dose or to forget to refill something. So to ensure that you are managing your prescriptions correctly, smartwatch apps will make it easier to remind you and to track your doses. And then in the end, this can lead to greater compliance with medication. Another benefit is that they can help track your diet and calories if this is a concern, if you have diabetes or other health concerns. So a healthy diet will also help promote physical well-being. So while we have the best intentions of sticking to our diets, it's pretty easy to lose focus or to get distracted. Calorie counting, developing healthy eating habits, meal planning, and sticking to a schedule requires a lot of planning and attention. So fortunately, smartwatches will have apps that can help track and log your calories for each meal, which makes monitoring calories really easy. And there are even apps that include a wealth of dietary information with food items and the number of calories found in a typical serving as well. And then lastly, these wearables can be great in terms of managing stress. When wearables lead to more activity and exercise, they will also help you manage your stress. But there are other ways that they can help with stress that are actually quite advanced and kind of exciting. So Fitbit has integrated EDA sensors, and that stands for electrodermal activity. And that detects small electrical changes in the sweat of the skin. It's actually one way that psychologists track stress and use it in their research studies when they're trying to measure stress levels. And you can now use it with your Fitbit to understand your response to stressors and ultimately to help you manage your stress. So it's somewhat advanced and pretty exciting. So I've told you in general what wearables can do to enhance your wellness. I want to get a little bit more specific now to let you know the capabilities of some of the more popular watches and trackers. And I'm going to start with the Apple Watch, which is down in the lower left-hand corner here. The Series 7, which is the most current model of the Apple Watch, starts at around $400, just under. And what the Apple Watch has built into it high and low heart rate indications and irregular heartbeat notification, which if you're prone to having a racing heart or palpitations, that can be very useful. It will measure your blood oxygen levels with a blood oxygen app and an ECG app. You can download a specific app, a stress monitor app, that will process this data and show you your current stress level along with guidance related to the level, ways that you can reduce your stress. It also tracks your daily fitness activities. As I mentioned before, you can pair your Apple Watch to a subscription with Apple Fitness Plus, and you can access their library of workouts. And this is something that is unique to the Apple Watch. There is a subscription fee associated with that monthly, but it's less than a gym membership. Fitbit in the lower right-hand corner is another big name in fitness trackers. The larger model is called the Fitbit Sense, and the smaller tracker is called the Fitbit Charge. And the Sense runs around 200, and the Fitbit Charge 5 runs around 120. Both of these will track your activity. They will both monitor your sleep. They will both track your heart rate, and they both include that EDA technology that I told you about to help with stress management. The Fitbit Sense allows you to download apps, which would make it similar to an Apple Watch. It's a smartwatch, and it can also monitor your blood oxygen levels. Sorry. The Fitbit Charge is limited to just measuring and tracking your health and fitness metrics, but it's very useful in that, and it's a much smaller device. You know, it makes it easier for some people to wear. In the upper left-hand corner is the Garmin. The Garmin smartwatches have been really the preferred fitness tracking device for serious athletes for several different reasons. And historically, the Garmin has been a very functional watch, but not a very stylish one. But they've released the Venue SQ, and this combines Garmin's functioning with a much more stylish look. It includes a pulse ox sensor. It does stress monitoring as well. It does heart rate monitoring. But the one thing that Garmin does that the others don't do is respiration monitoring. And it kind of sets it apart from the other offerings. It also has a mindful breathing function that guides your breathing to help with relaxation and focus. But you don't have to wear a wearable on your wrist. The Aura ring in the upper right-hand corner is a ring that you wear on your finger, and as you're wearing it, it tracks some biometrics as well. It starts around $300, just like the other ones. It has continuous heart rate monitoring. One thing it does that the others do not do is it has temperature sensors, so it takes your temperature around the clock. And it's pretty accurate too. It also tracks activity. It does guided breathing and meditation. And just like all of the other devices, it links to your phone or your tablet and stores and displays all of this data so that it's easy for you to see patterns and trends. All of these wearables will also track your sleep. And Mike is going to dig into that a little bit later in the program.
The idea of combining video games with fitness may seem a little strange, as traditional video gaming seems to be about as couch-bound of an activity as there is. But developers are working hard to combine fitness with gaming in order to make exercise as fun and immersive as possible. Doing so will theoretically make exercise seem like less of a burden and will hopefully give you extra motivation to stick with a fitness program. In the next few slides, I'll provide some examples. In the first slide is Nintendo Fitness Boxing 2. It costs about $45 and is made for the Nintendo Switch, the very popular game console that's handheld or can connect to your television. This fitness game is great because it doesn't require any additional equipment. You're ready to go if you have your game controllers in hand. Essentially, you'll be led through a series of exercises in which you punch, jab, uppercut, etc., to a musical soundtrack, which features songs like Girls Want to Have Fun and YMCA. You'll be timing your punches using cues from the screen. And as you get better, you'll unlock new songs and new outfits for the avatar on the screen. You can customize the type of workout you want, whether it's like full body or upper body, etc. And to me, this seems like a lot of fun. And if you'd like to have a look at this before committing to buy it, you can check it out from our adult video game collection right now. The next example I'll share with you is also for the Nintendo Switch. It's called Ring Fit Adventure and costs about $80 and comes with some special accessories to aid in the experience. As you can see in the image on the left-hand side, you hold a flexible ring-shaped device and you strap a controller to your leg, and that helps you interact with the game system. For example, you jog in place to move your character on the screen forward, and you stretch and squeeze the ring to attack monsters, which appear periodically throughout the game. If you have any experience with fantasy adventure games or just looking for something new to try, you'll probably have fun with Ring Fit Adventure. The next example I'll share with you is a little more grounded in reality. It's called Zwift. It's like a biking simulator, which connects to sensors on your stationary bike to capture how fast you're pedaling. Or if you have a regular bike, you can buy a kit to make it stationary and attach sensors to it. And basically, as you can see above, the Zwift uses the information from the pedals and your cadence to sort of power the online persona who's traversing a virtual world on the bike. Even better, you get to see other riders on the screen with you who represent real people. So it's very social and engaging and allows you to avoid the hazards and discomforts of on-the-road cycling for fitness. Especially in the winter, this seems like a good example of an option. You can even meet online buddies and arrange for rides to have together. It has routes through places like London, Innsbruck, New York City, and Yorkshire, to name just a few. If you can position a large screen in front of your stationary bike at home, the experience will feel really lifelike. There are other examples of fitness gaming out there, but I think this is an area that will continue to grow as companies are looking for ways to keep exercise novel and interesting. And Susan's going to tell us about how technology can help with our mental wellness next.
Many blame an increased use and influence of technology in our lives to diminishing our well-being. But when used thoughtfully, technology can also be harnessed to improve the well-being of our minds. Whether you are looking for guidance when meditating or looking for help in managing symptoms of depression or anxiety, there are many apps that can provide a boost. Actually, health experts predict that the use of apps in mental health and well-being will play an important role in the future of mental health care by providing really innovative solutions for the self-management of mental disorders. The American Psychiatric Association has developed an app rating system that helps psychiatrists or clinical psychologists or other mental health clinicians to assess the efficacy and the risk of mobile and online apps for this very reason. There are benefits to these apps that address your mental well-being. First of all, they have the potential to reach people that may not otherwise receive help because it removes the barrier from getting help. And if anybody's tried to access mental health over the past 2 years, you know it's really difficult right now. There's a shortage of providers. So these mental health apps can kind of help bridge the therapist gap. They're also anonymous, which makes it easy for people who are worried about privacy to seek help. Now, some experts do caution that using an app does not replace seeking professional help and should be used as an adjunct to professional help instead. But others all believe that using an app to help regulate your stress and improve your well-being can truly be a game changer for many. There are many apps for your mental well-being toolbox. Some are meant for overall stress reduction and mindfulness. Others have been developed to target specific negative symptoms from mood regulation to anxiety. And some are meant to change negative thought behaviors, change negative behaviors to leading to a healthier state of being. These are just a few of the most highly recommended apps for things like mindfulness and meditation, calming anxious feelings, changing behaviors using cognitive behavior therapy, for example. But there are also apps that will help support addiction and recovery, manage symptoms related to other conditions like obsessive compulsive disorder and schizophrenia, and there are even suicide prevention apps. Let's start with mindfulness. Mindfulness is important because experts believe regular meditation can actually change aspects of the brain functioning. And for long-term changes, studies show that it takes about 8 weeks of practice to make a real difference. If you have no idea where to begin a practice of mindfulness and meditation, or if you would like to approach this from a new perspective, you might want to consider trying one of these apps. Whether you have 5 minutes or an entire afternoon, mindfulness and meditation apps will help to create a sense of calm in your brain, and all from the comfort of your couch. So they include things like guided meditations, breathing exercises, maybe videos or stories, soothing music. And they're a great way to really delve into this world of meditation and mindfulness. So the 3 apps that you might want to try first are Headspace, Calm, and 10% Happier. As a disclaimer, none of these apps are free. But you have to understand that most free apps make their money on ads. And so to avoid ads interfering with your meditation practice, these apps instead choose a subscription fee. I think Headspace and Calm are around $13 a month, and 10% Happier is around $100 annually. So we'll start with the Headspace app, and it really makes meditation simple. You learn the skills of mindfulness and meditation by using this app for really just a few minutes a day. And there are hundreds and hundreds of meditations, and they range from everything from stress and anxiety to sleep and focus. The app has a handy get some Headspace reminder that encourages you to keep up with your practice regularly every day. One thing that I like about Headspace that makes it very useful is that you can search through the different meditations by theme or by how long you want it to be, the length. So if you only have a couple minutes, you can find meditations that are only a couple minutes long, and it makes it very useful. Another handy app is Calm. It's generally regarded as one of the top mental health apps available. And it provides people that experiencing stress and anxiety with these guided meditations, sleep stories, breathing programs, and relaxing music or sounds. The app is a universal app, meaning that whether you've never tried meditation before or you have regularly practiced, you're going to find something in this program that's going to fit your need. While you can't search based on theme or length of meditation like you can in Headspace, it does include kid-friendly meditations that are specifically for kids and teens from the ages of 3 to 17. And then finally, if you are a beginner, you might consider trying 10% Happier. One course the app offers is called The Basics. And what I like about this is that the meditations themselves were fairly effective and beginner friendly. And each session is prefaced with a short video that introduces a concept that you'll use during the meditation, so that you understand what you're going to be doing and why you're going to be doing it. 10% Happier has a vast library of guided meditations, over 500. And they add new content weekly, so there's always something new. Those with chronic anxiety know the feeling, the angst that is always under the surface and ready to appear without any warning. It's the kind of condition that for 40 million adults in the United States can be all-consuming when left to its own devices. But anxiety can also be manageable, and once you learn how to work through it, you can get over all the worry. So seeking help from a mental health care provider is always the best way to manage anxiety. But these apps were developed to be great tools to work alongside that as well, to help when you're on your own, to remember to breathe or to get out of the vicious cycle of anxiety. And they are all free apps, so none of these have a charge. MindShift is one of the best mental health apps designed specifically for teens and young adults with anxiety. And rather than trying to avoid anxious feelings, MindShift stresses the importance of changing how you think about anxiety. It encourages you to take charge of your life and to kind of ride out these intense emotions and to really face challenging situations rather than avoiding them. And this is, like I said, a free app. If you get those anxious feelings and meditation hasn't helped, then SAM, which stands for Self-Help for Anxiety Management, might be a good fit for you. Users of this app are prompted to build their own 24-hour anxiety toolkit that will allow you to track your anxious thoughts and behaviors over time, and then learn 25 different self-help techniques. SAM also contains a way to get support from others. If you use its what they call the social cloud feature, you're able to confidentially connect with other users in an online community just to get that group support that sometimes is helpful. And then lastly, I've got the Cbt Thought Diary. And this uses journaling as a technique to flip your thought process when feeling anxious. It helps you to document negative emotions, analyze flaws in your thinking, and then reevaluate your thoughts. It's a great app to help you gradually change kind of the way that you're thinking about things, your thinking pattern, so that you can approach anxiety-inducing situations with a new perspective. It's been proven to be somewhat effective. If you're interested in tracking your moods, iMood Journal and eMoods are both mood tracking apps. iMood Journal is part journal and part mood tracker. It can be used to record everything from mood and symptoms to sleep, medication, energy cycles. And then by tracking these devices, you're able to analyze your feelings throughout summary charts that the app creates so that you can see where your stress levels go up and where they go down. eMoods is a mood tracking app that is specifically for people with bipolar disorder, and they throughout the day, users can track symptoms, moods, and irritability. And then you indicate how severe it is. And you can watch your mood changes on a color-coded monthly calendar, and even export a monthly summary report so that you can see what specific triggers are and you can better understand your mood fluctuations. And then lastly, my last two apps deal with cognitive behavior therapy, which is something that we can all use. With the state of the world right now, who isn't having unwanted feelings? Whatever your emotion, whether it's stress or anger, angst or depression, a little extra help dealing is probably something we could all use. So cognitive behavior therapy, or it's also known as CBT, these apps are provide approachable, easy to use, and sometimes fun ways to manage every feeling that you're having and to help change unhealthy thought patterns to give you effective strategies to stay grounded when you're feeling like life is out of control. So What's Up is a free app. It combines cognitive behavior therapy and what they call acceptance commitment therapy to help you cope with these unwanted feelings. So it uses positive and negative habit tracker to help you maintain good habits and break those that are counterproductive. I particularly like something that's called the Get Grounded page. It has over 100 different questions that will help pinpoint exactly what you're feeling. And then the Thinking Patterns page teaches you how to stop that negative internal monologue and change it into something more positive. And then lastly, Mood Kit. This uses the foundation of cognitive behavior therapy to provide you with over 200 different mood improvement activities. And this app was actually developed by 2 clinical psychologists. It helps change how you think, and it helps you to develop a self-awareness and healthy attitudes. And it has a journal feature, which is a really great way to practice self-care by reflecting on the day, noticing any distressing thoughts, and then documenting how you overcame them to help the next time you confront those same feelings. There are lots of ways that we have shown how technology can be used to help you feel healthier and even happier. But what do you do when your technology is impeding your health and wellness? The use of technology, namely phones, tablets, computers, is increasing rapidly. In fact, a survey recently recorded about a 50 to 70% increase in internet use during the pandemic. And of that, 50% of the time was spent engaging on social media. This was in 2020. Numerous other studies have highlighted an increased screen time propelled by COVID as well. So if this sounds familiar to you and you're looking to reduce your technology use, experts have some tips and tricks and, well, more technology actually to help monitor and ultimately reduce your screen time. So I'm going to go through some of that with you. Most phones and tablets are capable of monitoring your use and send you weekly updates about whether your use is up or down that week. This is a great place to start. Read your weekly summary to keep track of your own screen time habits. But I'm also going to share some tips for using your phone's native app that tracks your usage, and also consider some technology hacks that might lure you away from the temptation of your phone or tablet when you're in a moment of weakness. So one tip, if you're looking to reduce the amount of time that you spend on your device, you could try changing your display to grayscale. Experts say that we are a lot less distracted by our phones and tablets when they are no longer in color. Black and white screens are less diverting, distracting, and demanding of our attention. But if that doesn't work, you could also try to silence the bings and tings, turning off your text alerts and any kind of app notification that's a sound will also cut down on your distractions. And another strategy is to take fewer photos. Without the content to post on social media, you may not end up scrolling through hours of posts after you upload your photo or video. You can also set a timer. And so scheduling your time, for instance, around dinner or maybe at 8 o'clock, you set your alarm and then you follow your own rules and put your phone down and don't look at it, is one strategy that some people recommend. So there's a lot of different little tips like that you could try. But if these don't work for you, then there are other things that you can do to try to cut down on your screen time. So if you have an Android phone, you could start by using its built-in screen time limiter, which is Digital Wellbeing. Digital Wellbeing is already installed on your Android phone, and it turns out it's fairly effective and simple to beat your phone addiction. And it will stop you from scrolling through Facebook every few minutes when you should be working it. So to access it, you just go to Settings, and then you go to Digital Wellbeing and Parental Controls. And then you can tap App Timers under your goals. From here, you can click on the egg timer that is to the right of each app, and you can add your own timer. So you can set limits on how long you can use each app on your phone. You can also tap Work Time or Me Time under the focus mode to set the apps up that you're able to use during certain times of the day. So if you don't want to use your social media during work time, you can set that to Me Time. And if you only want to use your work email during your work hours, then you could set that to Work Time. And then you won't have access to those apps at the times that you've told it you don't want access to them. Apple iPhones have a similar type of app called Screen Time. And it's an excellent app as well. It's built into your iOS device, whether it's an iPad or an iPhone. You access it by going to Settings and then Screen Time. And then from here, you can set usage limits for all of the apps that you have on your device. You can also schedule downtime, as well as setting which apps you want to allow at all times. You can access graphs and statistics of your screen time on a daily and weekly basis, so you can see how much more or less time you've spent on your phone. Screen time breaks down your app usage into categories as well, like games, social media, etc. So you can quickly see just where your time is going, and that can help you to adjust your usage limits accordingly. Screen time is also linked to your iCloud account, so you can toggle on the share across devices option so that you'll be able to see how you use your apps across all of your Apple devices, which makes it really useful. So if you've tried using the native apps on your devices to manage your screen time and it just isn't working, then you might want to employ a different app. And there are many that you could use that target your specific needs. And I'm just going to go through a couple of them to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So there's one app called Moment. It's for iOS devices. It not only helps you measure how much time you spend on your phone and which apps you use the most, but it also makes it easier to pick up your phone less. So it gives you daily coaching to help you tweak your everyday use to improve your health, your focus, your wellness. And you can even join and create groups of friends or families to keep others accountable and to enjoy coaching together. Space is another app that is available on both iOS and Android devices. And it's a little bit different than some of the other screen time apps. Space helps you to set goals to be more mindful of your screen usage. When you install Space, you complete a short questionnaire about your smartphone habits, and then you select a user type that is the best match. The app then sets the screen unlock and sets the time use goals. The app will send notification as your screen time increases, and it will reward you with different achievement badges when you meet your daily goals. And you can compare your progress with friends and family too. There's even an 8-day phone life balance course that's packed with information and research to help you balance your phone use with the rest of your life in a more healthy way. So you can learn from this as well. And then another app is called App Detox, and this is an Android app. And it allows you to create rules that limit your access to certain apps. The usual schedule and time-based limitations are available, as well as an option that requires you to walk walk in order to earn your screen time. It's one of the few apps that provides a forever option for apps that cannot be deleted from your phone. And it's really handy to help control kids' screen time as well. And then another app that's for Android devices is called Off the Grid. And this is for those who really, truly have a problem of staying off their phone. Off the Grid will completely block your phone for a set length of time that you determine. You can schedule your off the grid time, for example, if you want to stop using your phone at 8 p.m. every night, or you could set a custom, you can even set a custom auto reply message to let friends and family know why you're not responding and choose to allow calls in case somebody needs to reach you urgently. While you're off the grid, you can still access your camera app, so that's handy if you want to capture a selfie or a photo, but everything else is locked out. So those are just a few of the apps. There are several that will help you monitor and reduce your screen time and hopefully lead to a healthier mindset.
So Susan mentioned earlier about how wearables can help with stress reduction, and I'm going to talk about some other devices that that sort of amplify on this approach. So the first kind of stress relief device that I'll discuss is the kind that where the device is using biofeedback, which has been around since 1969. The idea of biofeedback is to give you instant and continuous information about your body and its processes. The feedback you get may be auditory, it may be visual, or it could be both. The hope is that you can learn how to control your body and its response to stress using this real-time information. So some current examples of biofeedback devices are on the screen here, and they're relatively sophisticated. So I'll mention a couple of them. The Unite Iome 2 is about $350 when you get it with a lifetime subscription. And The IOM2 measures breathing as well as something called heart rate variability, which is often abbreviated as HRV. When you're experiencing stress, your heart rate variability goes down. And because the IOM2 can provide an indication of when your HRV changes, you can learn how to control it. The IOM2 provides you with an on-screen resonance score, which ranges from 0 to 100. And as your HRV goes up, your resonance score will increase. And this is a way of providing positive feedback for the change. I think this could be well worth it. If you'd like to try it out before committing, you could purchase the device with 1 year of service for $200. And then after that first year, you would pay $5 per month thereafter. The second device I'll mention is called the Muse 2 Headband. It's about $250, and it's another example of a biofeedback device. It has an EEG monitor, which tracks your brain waves, something called a PPG monitor, which tracks your heart rate activity, and it also uses accelerometers to measure your body movements. When your mind is calm and focused, the Muse 2 gives you feedback in the form of chirping birds. And when your mind is overly active and distracted, it plays the sound of thunderstorms. It comes with a number of guided meditations, but for a broader selection, you'll want to subscribe to their premium service, which is $13 a month. So either one of these might be a great way to get in better touch with your body and how it responds to stress, and maybe learn how to control that. On the next slide, I've got something called a vibration affective touch device. And specifically, it's called the Cove. It's often sold for $500, but it's currently at $350. And it's completely different from the biofeedback devices. Instead of giving you audio or visual feedback on your body's processes, this wearable device actually vibrates to replicate this thing called affective touch, which traditionally in the real world is thought of as slow stroking motions on the skin. So you might, mammals tend to respond to this. So if you stroke your cat's neck gently, it will like that. So same thing is true with humans. So researchers at Brown University have found that with this device, 94% of participants in this study experienced lower stress, 91% reported improved quality of sleep, and 39% reported an increase in the ability to focus. And the way I understand it is you don't have to sit and concentrate like a meditation sort of thing with this device. You can wear it while you're watching television, and your body sort of just interprets these vibration sensations that you're feeling as this special sort of touch, and it automatically responds. So I think they say you use it like 20 minutes a day while you're doing other things, and it will have a positive impact. So I think that's pretty interesting, and it might be worth checking out. The next section that we'll talk about tonight is improving sleep. So I think getting a good night's sleep is critically important to both your physical health and your mental health. According to the American Sleep Association, there are several negative outcomes associated with poor sleep. One study found that people who didn't get good sleep were 4 times as likely to suffer from poor concentration and 3 times as likely to be depressed. If you fail to get 6 hours of sleep consistently, you're 48% more likely to die from heart disease and 15% more likely to die from a stroke. And if you fail to get the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep, you're 12% more likely to die over a given 25-year period. And there was just a study released this month which showed a relationship between calorie intake and improved sleep. So if you're among the people that typically sleep for less than 6.5 hours a night, and you are able to improve that to get an extra 1.2 hours of sleep a night, you can shed an average of 270 calories from your daily caloric intake just by making that change. I'm sure this is a correlation and not a causation, but it's interesting to see that relationship. So on the next slide, we'll talk about what you can do, what steps you can take to actually improve your sleep. And one of the best things you could do is try to manage your environment. And the variables that you typically can control fall into three broad categories: temperature, ambient light, and noise. And on the following slide, we'll talk about some examples of ways that you can control each of these things. First up is temperature. In most cases, we can control the temperature of the room, but it's also possible to modulate the temperature inside the bed itself. The best example I could find of this is called the BedJet Dual Zone for Couples, which costs about $860, and it uses airflow to cool or heat your bed with zones for each side of the bed. So it comes with 2 remote controls, so each person has complete control over the temperature on their side. It even allows you to store temperature profiles, so you could start the bed relatively cool to start, and then gradually warm up as the night goes on. And one side could do that independently of the other side. This company offers something called the Cloud Sheet, which actually has built-in air pockets that puff up when fed by the device, which is blowing air inside it. But it will also work with your traditional bedding as well. If only one of you desires temperature control, you could order a single-sided system for less money. The next factor is ambient light. And the technology that we use to control ambient light is pretty basic but effective. Blackout curtains are made by scores of manufacturers. As a simple point of reference, Amazon Basics blackout curtains cost $35 for common size and work pretty well. If you want to, or you may want to consider getting the kind of curtains that attach with rings rather than threading them directly over the curtain rod, as this will make them easier to open and close, something that you'll probably want to do every day to let the sun shine in during the day. In addition, there are special curtain rods which wrap around the sides to provide better blackout coverage. I think I've seen these most commonly in hotel rooms, but you can get them for home use as well. The Umbra Twilight series is one example, and it costs about $30. Noise is the final environmental factor that you might want to control. Managing the noise, I think, in your bedroom is very important. It's not always possible to remove the sources of your noise pollution, but in many cases, you can mask it with some sort of a steady sound. It could be white noise, it could be the sound of rainfall, babbling brooks, all that sort of thing, other nature sounds. I've had good luck with something called the Electrofan sound machine, which I think costs about $50, but there are many, many options out there. I'd say if you're going to go down this route, try to see if you can play with one in person, or at least buy one that has a good return policy so you can try it in your own bedroom to see how it works. One thing to look out for is whether the sound is on like an observable loop where there's an obvious and distracting difference between the end of the sound pattern and the beginning of the next part of the sound pattern. The Electrofan doesn't have this problem, but many others are the same. So let's talk about some wearables that you can have that can aid you in your goal. And these will look very familiar because Susan has talked about pretty much all of these, I think. They, in terms of sleep, they attempt to measure the length and the quality of your sleep. So you have a better idea of what's happening with your body overnight. And on one hand, I think this is great, as this information can be useful as a way of tracking the general trends in your sleep patterns. But on the other hand, I worry that it can increase your stress. For example, say you're in the middle of a string of bad nights of sleep, and you may feel anxiety knowing that you simply have to turn this poor sleeping trend around, or you're going to be completely useless the next day. And I've been there. So you kind of almost get performance anxiety thinking that you have to do better tonight. So I think if you use these wearables as kind of a general informational tool, or even better, maybe as a form of, as Susan suggests, gathering data to share with your physician, I think they can be very useful. And among the ones that are available, the Fitbit devices have had sleep tracking for years, and I used them for quite a while. And then I moved on to an Apple Watch, and I've used an Apple Watch to monitor sleep. I went through a couple of years where I was paying very close attention to it. From what I hear, though, the Oura or Aura Rings sleep tracking is the best of the bunch. I think if you're interested in this function and you don't already have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, I think I'd get the ring that you wear on your finger, despite the fact that it does require a $6 per month subscription. There are apps to help you fall asleep as well. On the next slide, if you search for sleep in your phone's app store, you'll be greeted with dozens of programs which promise to help. I think it's good to be skeptical of some of these claims, but based on the positive reviews that you can see, there's something here. There's something that might be useful for you, since there is such a wide variety. I'm going to mention just 3 of them here, but there, as I said, there are countless other options available to you. The first one I'll mention is called My Sleep Button, and it's available for iOS and Android. It's a guided imagery application. So the app speaks a series of words or phrases at a regular interval. So you could have it give you a new word or phrase every 7 seconds, every 6 seconds, every 8 seconds. It's very customizable. And you're instructed to picture whatever this is in your mind. And then you move on to the next thing that they suggest you visualize. And they found that this disrupts your racing thoughts, which may keep you up. The word packs that you can buy are about $6 to $9, I think. And I think My Sleep Button is definitely worth a try. Susan has already talked about Calm, which is $70 a year. It gets a lot of attention, deservedly so, for its meditation functionality. But as Susan mentioned, it has something called sleep stories, which are designed to help you nod off. There are about 100 different sleep stories on Calm, and most of them are 20 to 40 minutes in length or so. They have sleep stories for kids as well, and that can help justify, I think, the subscription fee and make it a little more palatable. The final app that I'll mention is called Cbti Coach, and it's based on the ideas of cognitive behavior therapy that Susan was talking about earlier. And the -I, Cbt-I, is insomnia. So there's a lot of evidence now that CBT works for insomnia. So much so that CBT is often recommended as a first-line treatment over things like medication. And this Cbti app will let you see some proven tools that you can use in your own quest for better sleep. To be honest with you, it's not the most polished app out there, but it does really provide some solid information that's grounded in science and some guidance that I think anybody could use to help to get a better sleep. It's worth a look, and especially since it's free, there's really no downside to that. And the final thing that I'll mention on my next slide is a podcast that you might want to try. It's called, amusingly, Sleep With Me, and it consists of rambling bedtime stories for adults. The host has kind of there's an interesting timbre to his voice. It's pretty soothing, and he takes kind of a lighthearted approach to the stories he tells. There are over 1,000 episodes of this podcast, so it could be a great option if you never want to repeat a story. If you compare this to something like Calm, which has 100 sleep stories, you can see the differential there. I think this isn't going to be for everybody, but it might be something to try. Like I was listening to an episode the other day, and it's designed to, these stories are designed not to be very stimulating or interesting, but rather they're kind of rambling, and he goes off on these tangents. The introduction section to it was like, 6 or 7 minutes of him just talking about various things that are kind of random. And these aren't going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to find out how the story ends, but more like, your uncle that likes to talk a lot is over there at the end of the table telling stories that nobody really cares that much about. So it it could be good or it could be bad depending on how you feel about that sort of thing. So this is the end of the sleep program, or the sleep portion of the program, and the end of our prepared content. But Susan and I would welcome any questions you have at this time that you've been saving up for the end, for the Q&A, or any comments you might have on any of these, any kind of devices you've tried or apps you've tried that have helped with your wellness. That would be great.
So we have a comment that one of our participants has been using an Apple Watch for about a year and love it, and wants to know what wearables we wear. And I use a Fitbit personally, and I love it. I just want it to track my basic activity and my sleep and my heart rate, and it does the job for that. Mike?
I have had a Fitbit, and I did use it for that sort of thing. And then, as I mentioned, I switched to an Apple Watch a few years back, and I really enjoy it as well. I think it displays the information really nicely, and there are different applications that you can download to see different views of your fitness data and your sleep data and your heart rate data and all that sort of thing. So I found that it's pretty useful. Good question.
Any other question? Yeah, good question. Any other questions or comments or technology that you'd like to share with the group? Well, I hope that you'll be able to join us for one of our upcoming programs, and we thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks everybody, and feel free to stop by and share your experiences more privately with us, or check out our future programs. And as far as the podcast that I mentioned here, we also have a podcast program that we did recently, if you want to check that out.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.